Well, let's get into this highly anticipated match here. THOMPSIN versus TRUEWHALE. This is a best of 5, everyone. So stay tuned because you don't want to miss out on any one of these matches. Pre-bans coming out shortly.
And a best of 5 means that we're really going to see who's a better drafter, better player. They have equally stacked boxes and runes here. 1 point away on the ladder. Both of them have deep experience here. THOMPSIN with the tournament experience, TRUEWHALE with the ladder experience. TRUEWHALE going with the ban on the Oberon, which is a little interesting. I think THOMPSIN's going to be taking out Tianlang and Volantis back-to-back. Those are going to be his pre-bans. TRUEWHALE taking out the aggression is a little interesting. I thought he would have taken out Gianna and Nephthys here. But, you know, we'll see what unfolds here. TRUEWHALE, I think, has played a lot of passively on the ladder. Lately, when I've seen his matches, there's a lot of Praha, a lot of Nanas. So we'll see if he decides to stick with that or if he decides to go more aggression, some sort of an Oliver, some sort of a Dominic here. Goes passive with the Nana here, does go with that Dominic. We've seen what that Dominic has done to Raigeki. So that one proc from that Dominic could change the tide of this battle.
I definitely like TRUEWHALE starting off with that Nana and Dominic. That is very aggressive, and that's definitely something THOMPSIN's going to have to worry about. Shizuka first pick from THOMPSIN seems a little interesting, but definitely expected. We've got 2 more picks coming out of THOMPSIN.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure I'm a fan of that Shizuka, but that tells me Gianna has to be coming at some point in this draft here. And a violent Gianna into this set of speeds is very good for THOMPSIN. Normally, I don't like a violent Gianna, but if TRUEWHALE doesn't threaten speed with the Sekhmet of some sort, or some other speed units like an Oliver Narsha, he may be in a little bit of trouble. Do like THOMPSIN's counter picks, and TRUEWHALE going with aggression here, and a little bit of turn 2 play with that Ragdoll.
Yeah, Ragdoll Masha coming up for TRUEWHALE definitely has kill potential in the form of that Dominic and Masha, of course, able to possibly get some turns over THOMPSIN with Ragdoll being left on the field. Ragdoll's something THOMPSIN does not like to play with, so already potentially signaling a ban here on that Ragdoll.
Yeah, THOMPSIN typically doesn't want to fight against that Ragdoll. THOMPSIN also doesn't have a Tianlang. Tianlang is not pre-banned here, but he doesn't have Tianlang. Goes with the Light Monkey, one of my favorite units here. So he has double strips, Light Monkey, double strips into a Light Monkey and a Narsha here. So if I'm TRUEWHALE, I probably have to ban out that Light Monkey. Does lay down the Juno, which is an interesting pick here. I know there's other LDs that I would have preferred TRUEWHALE to take. I can't name them because we don't know what they are yet. But goes with the Juno here, and that signals probably a ban on this Gianna or a Changpeng. Narsha's probably also okay. THOMPSIN's likely going to take out this Nana, but I think Ragdoll's also perfectly fine. It's going to come down to one of those two, but I really like THOMPSIN's draft here. There's a lot of threat. Ragdoll's probably the best ban given the fact that he's AoE cleaving. So if THOMPSIN takes out Ragdoll, he's going to be in a good spot. Takes out the Juno instead, which I'm not sure about. If TRUEWHALE does not have will on, say, a Masha or something, TRUEWHALE might be able to snipe a unit off the bat. So not sure about THOMPSIN's ban there. We'll see how the opening looks.
We'll see how this open does look between THOMPSIN and TRUEWHALE as we get into the first match between the two of them. Let's see who's going to be taking first turn.
We see THOMPSIN's going to be able to open up with a bomb onto the Masha. Misses the bomb here, but is going to get a strip off. But again, his units are going to be cut. Does not strip 2 units. Huge.
That is a massive for TRUEWHALE, able to get the defense break on top of that Gianna Dominic. We know how fast this unit is going to be. Dominic taking the turn here, looking so good for TRUEWHALE, able to remove this unit and get another orb on top of his Nana.
And that orb is going to be massive here because THOMPSIN does not have enough damage over time to be able to take out 2 Nana orbs here. Changpeng is a very good unit, but again, may not have enough in the back pocket, but that's a very big proc on Changpeng there.
Definitely a really good proc as well. We've got the Serious Matter coming out, reducing the attack bars of TRUEWHALE, of course. We're going to see some good damage coming from this Narsha. We know it can really pump out. Goes straight for the Nana and gets that kill.
Definitely a lot of damage coming out from the side of THOMPSIN. THOMPSIN may have a chance here. Should throw out skill 3 from Shizuka. Skill 2 should go on Changpeng, refresh those cooldowns, and be able to cycle damage and maybe get through the additional orb of Nanas here. So THOMPSIN might be able to take this down.
He might be able to. We've got Nana getting dropped there. No more orbs are going to be up after going after Nana only to remove those orbs. We've got that Shizuka with the skill 2. Let's see if he does place it onto the Changpeng, and he does.
Does place on Changpeng here, so Changpeng's going to have more skills up. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage. If Changpeng procs, that's going to be a lot of momentum going the way of THOMPSIN.
Nice little additional turn, able to pump a little bit of damage into the Narsha. Narsha's still very healthy. Removes the Nana from the field. Not a unit that THOMPSIN's going to have to worry about anymore. Big skill 2 goes out with the initial turn as well. Serious Matter reducing the attack bars of TRUEWHALE. Looking so good for THOMPSIN.
Absolutely massive proc coming on the side of Thompson there. That's exactly what he needed to come back here. TRUEWHALE's going to be losing a unit once this Narsha takes a turn. It does have speed buff, so it's going to move in front of the other 2 units here. So Thompson's going to take out a unit. TRUEWHALE's going to need to be able to use this Masha and dominate the game with it.
Well, let's see what happens here, because Thompson needs to keep this Masha alive and remove a unit. Gets the initial turn as well. 2 units down. Thompson looking so good in this first match between TRUEWHALE and winning round 1.
Wow, we just saw RNG come into play at the last bit there. We saw a couple things there. We saw that Masha missing the crit onto Narsha. That was massive. That allowed Narsha to take another turn. And then we saw Narsha take a proc. So we saw that Masha's typically on 80% crit or higher. So we saw 80% come into play, 20%, you know, not critting there. And then 20% times 22% for the violent proc coming on the side of Thompson allowed him to secure that victory.
Yeah, most definitely. Of course, a little bit of RNG in the side of Thompson for sure, but I definitely don't want to talk down TRUEWHALE's draft there. TRUEWHALE definitely had some great opportunities to try to clap back against Thompson there. He definitely resisted 2 of those early stuns with the Gianna, also resisting the bomb as well. So it was looking very good for Thompson at the start of that match, but looking really good for TRUEWHALE at the start of that match, but Thompson was able to just really overcome TRUEWHALE there.
That's true. When we talk about RNG at the beginning of the match there, that Gianna did miss a lot, was critical. I would have preferred Thompson to ban out the Ragdoll there, would have given him a much better opening if he led Gianna into Changpeng there. But again, I guess it really didn't matter at the end of the day because he was able to come out ahead with the victory. So looking ahead into this match, I would think TRUEWHALE's probably should still think about taking out Gianna, should think about taking out Nephthys, one of the 2. Thompson's probably going to take out a Tianlang just because Tianlang counters so many of his units. So if I was Thompson, I would be thinking about those 2. But we'll see what the players decide. I mean, if they decide to go passive, maybe TRUEWHALE won't take out that Nephthys.
Oh, there's the Tianlang, and we've got the Dark M Bison or Gurkha getting banned here.
Yes, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've seen Gurkha basically solo teams here. So Gurkha is going to be the pre-ban. Gurkha Oberon pre-bans trading off from TRUEWHALE's side here. Not sure about the Oberon pre-bans that he's been doing, but do like this Oliver first pick. Thompson should go with some sort of a Gianna Masha or speed lead Masha would be a great way to kick things off.
Well, Masha Shizuka kicking it off for Thompson with the Oliver draft from TRUEWHALE looking to respond with 2 more units.
And I think we might see a Volantis here, would be a solid pick. Praha is something I've seen him tangle with a lot. Narsha for a lot of single target means that he can still take Volantis later, some sort of a Volantis Changpeng. So Thompson's likely going to need to disrupt this and go with some sort of turn 1 or some way to disrupt an opening from TRUEWHALE's side here. So TRUEWHALE should be taking this unit that he has in the back pocket that we haven't seen yet. And we might see a Changpeng. Volantis would also be a very good pick here. I think it's going to be some sort of LD unit here from the side of TRUEWHALE.
Ooh, hovering over a Sekhmet for TRUEWHALE is super interesting after seeing the Ragdoll Gianna coming out for Thompson.
So Thompson going with the Sekhmet is a little bit of an interesting play here. Sekhmet does taper off against Shizuka over time, so perhaps he's favoring a ban onto that, but that wouldn't make sense here. So this Sekhmet's an interesting pick. It's not exactly terrible here. The Nana's a little interesting given the fact that Thompson doesn't have a lot of instant burst. Thompson probably would dip into a Dominic here, but, you know, could really lean into a whole bunch of things. Goes with the Leo to disrupt the damage on the Narsha. Makes a lot of sense, but Leo's not exactly the best into Oliver or the Praha, so kind of an interesting Leo pick there. But TRUEWHALE probably is going to need to ban out that Leo.
Yeah, it feels like you might be letting the Nana through to try to lower the damage of TRUEWHALE, but it could be a couple things.
Yeah, definitely could be a couple things, but if I'm TRUEWHALE, I definitely want to push that first turn advantage, ride that Narsha to victory, so taking out that Leo might make sense here. And takes out the Ragdoll, so it does disrupt some sort of opening from Thompson's side of the field here. But again, this might be a fair bit of damage coming out from the Leo. That Narsha, we also know, is probably a little squishy here. So we'll see if TRUEWHALE is able to down a unit off the bat here. And if not, Thompson may be able to have a better turn 2 and long run game here.
Well, let's see what happens, because we're getting into the second round between TRUEWHALE and Thompson. Leo kicking things off.
And Thompson here should be aiming for a dismount on that Narsha and trying to down that Narsha off the back here. Thompson does have a Gianna that's going to be able to cycle turns over and over again. Does go for some damage on the Oliver, and that's actually a lot of damage coming from that Leo onto that Oliver over time. TRUEWHALE is going to be in an interesting spot here. Does have heals coming from the Praha later in the game, but is going to need to be able to do some damage at some point.
Yeah, Sekhmet was able to get the strip, not reset though, on the Shizuka. Big damage coming out of Nasha on to that Gianna. Gianna sitting there with a defense break right now. No buffs on the side of Thompson. Could be put to sleep here.
definitely should be using that sleep here. Does put his opponent's units to sleep there, but does not get the Shizuka, which is absolutely huge because the Shizuka can return it, but is reset from that Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver is going to be right there in time to stop that Shizuka from doing anything. Of course, with more turns coming out here. Lots of turns coming out here.
Lots of turns coming out here, and TRUEWHALE is going to find a burst opportunity here. That Oliver's just doing Oliver things, just cycling turns, taking many turns here. TRUEWHALE's going to have a defense break coming from that Narsha, going to be able to pump damage with his Praha in the segment over time. So THOMPSIN's going to need to find some momentum, but it's a little challenging here. He does not have a lot of support units in this game.
Segment with all skills available, getting the reset on top of that Masha. Narsha looking to pummel in that damage on top of the Gianna, landing that defense break as well. We've got Praha with the first skill, cycling a little bit of attack power, getting the additional turn, dropping Gianna.
Dropping Gianna is huge here, and the big part here is Gianna has not dropped a bomb the single part of the game, so if Shizuka does manage to get its skill off, it's not going to come with the bomb, which is very big in this matchup. That's a big proc, gets its skill 2, and it's going to have a skill 3 available soon, but again, TRUEWHALE pumping in a lot of damage is looking really dominant so far.
Yep, that could be really big for Shizuka to revive back to Gianna to get that bomb onto the field, but we've got more additional turns coming out of Praha to put Thompson's team to sleep again.
It's a lot of damage coming out from TRUEWHALE's side. A lot of damage over time. Does have a lot of resilience. Does have skill 3 from the Praha left. That's a pretty big proc on Oliver. Oliver might drop from this Masha coming up, so Thompson's going to be able to even this out 3 units of 3 soon.
Ooh, Curse of Beautiful trying to get some value here. Defense break sitting on top of the Leo. More additional turns popping up for absolutely everybody here. Shizuka is going to get removed from the field potentially.
Shizuka might be removed from the field here, but again, that proc on the Narsha really big. That's a lot of HP on that Shizuka, and that's another proc on that Praha.
Praha is just absolutely going off here. So many additional turns are popping up here for TRUEWHALE. Things starting to cycle in his way in this second match.
Definitely things are looking to cycle his way. If that Praha is really tanky, if this Leo's not able to take out this Praha, TRUEWHALE's looking like he's in a really good spot here. This segment is not going to do a lot here. Should be laying that attack break onto the Leo. Not sure why he didn't do that there. But TRUEWHALE's looking like he's in a decent spot, but this is not over yet. It could be anyone's game.
Definitely not over yet. Masha looking for the dismount on top of the Masha. Does get that dismount right there. Masha has big skill 2 damage coming out onto the Narsha. Finishing off that Narsha. We could put both these units to sleep here with the third skill, or he may save them for the time he needs.
Yeah, and Thompson here does not get a proc on that Masha here. This Leo's going to be doing a fair bit of damage, but TRUEWHALE does have a proc on segment. Should be able to take out that Leo if he does end up giving it attack break, give it glancing over time here. TRUEWHALE looks to be in a good spot.
TRUEWHALE definitely looking like he's in a really good spot here. Might actually go for that third skill, putting Thompson's team to sleep here. Does land both sleeps.
Does land both sleeps, which is great on the side of TRUEWHALE here. Does pick up his team, which is big. Praha's going to be able to cycle, and with the Leo on the field, going to take a lot of turns here. So I really like TRUEWHALE's position, but again, anything can happen. He's going to have to watch the HP of Leo and not put it in torrent range.
Yep, that's right. He might go for the Curse of Beautiful, knowing that it might be enough to finish off that Masha, and it is going to be enough to finish off that Masha. He's got to be really careful with this, because Torrent's going to be up next turn. He Violence, and he does have the Torrent available. He's going to be holding on to that skill. I don't think he is going to be using it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that Torrent usage there. TRUEWHALE should save skill 3, should just put the attack break. Very smart. Did not land the attack break, which is pretty big there. Unfortunately, did not land that, but big proc on that Praha there, and TRUEWHALE might be able to auto this Leo down.
He might be able to all this Leo down. He can go for whatever he wants right here, because that additional damage is going to be enough. TRUEWHALE taking round 2.
Wow, so much back and forth. That really came down to the wire there. If that Leo procced, that'd be the end of Praha, and that Praha just did not get enough damage at the end. That Leo might have survived. So that one was really down to the wire there. A lot of back and forth in that matchup there. I like the draft on both player sides, but at the end of the day, I think TRUEWHALE seems a little bit more resilient, had the heal from the Praha, a lot of damage over time, and Thompson wasn't able to get a rhythm, any momentum on his side of the field early on.
Yeah, there was that moment that Thompson decided to use the second skill for Torrent, where he could have saved it. He would have had Torrent up to ignore defense, remove a unit from the field. I'm not too sure it would have mattered anyways, but because he didn't have it on Vampire, he had it on Violent.
That's correct. And in that situation there, if he saved the Torrent, he would I don't think the attack break landed, but it allowed TRUEWHALE to save that skill 3. So that was definitely something to think about as you get into the later parts of the matches. Players should really let that timer run out, take your time, take a breather, and make the right play. Little things like that end up making a big difference if you don't get procs, or if your opponents, if you get a proc, it can make a difference there. We see the Volantis pre-ban, we see the Gianna pre-ban finally coming from the side of TRUEWHALE. Makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure why he went with the Oberon in the first round anyways. Volantis, of course, from Thompson. We're going to see probably a Masha or a Masha and Oliver here from Thompson, first pick.
Oof. The Shizuka again for Thompson as a first pick.
Not sure about that. We're probably going to see the same counter picks from TRUEWHALE, probably that Nana and that Dominic. That Dominic is just such a powerful unit on TRUEWHALE's side. And it's also okay to deviate from that. So he does deviate from that, goes with the aggression, which I like a lot. This means we're probably going to see some sort of Chung Peng play coming out of TRUEWHALE. And he definitely wants to take units out off the bat.
Oh, Masha and Nana coming out for Thompson. Oliver Narsha for TRUEWHALE, though. He's going to be responding to that Masha and Nana being drafted by Thompson. Hovering over a Wusa and one more pick.
Like the Wusa, I do like the Dominic. Dominic's just such a scary unit in TRUEWHALE's hands here. That Wusa does counter that Masha and Nana very well. Shizuka and Wusa are a little bit of a wash, but that's a great Wusa pick here. Thompson now has a decision if he wants to go full turn 2 or if he wants to have some sort of counterplay here. Some sort of, if he could either enable a Chung Peng or go full turn 2 with some sort of Junos and Ragdolls and things like that. So we'll see which route he prefers.
Chung Peng Gurkha coming out for Thompson here in this round 3.
The Gurkha's an interesting pick here because if TRUEWHALE's units do enough damage, he might not be scared of that Gurkha. Gurkha's typically a force ban because it's just so powerful. But that Chung Peng, I like that Chung Peng pick a lot. Thompson doesn't have a speed lead, and that's probably why I'm not exactly crazy about that Shizuka early. That could have been a speed lead, or that Nana could have been a speed lead. So his draft has a little bit of dyssynergies here. TRUEWHALE's gonna have the opening he wants. Great Pontos pick here, and I think Chung Peng is probably going to be the ban when he does this because he has double immunity, and Thompson doesn't really have a stripper once Chung Peng's banned. So Chung Peng's likely the ban here. If I'm Thompson, I'm kind of stuck dead in the water here. I might be taking out the Pontos or probably taking out some damage and just trying to survive with the Shizuka, but I really favor TRUEWHALE's draft here. Take out the Chung Peng, and Thompson doesn't really have a stripper.
Yep, most definitely. Thompson had no choice but to ban out one of those immunity units, and he chose to ban out the Wusa. HP lead for Thompson, speed lead for TRUEWHALE. TRUEWHALE with a very excellent draft here going into Thompson.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's going to lay in a world of damage on the Thompson side here, so we'll see if he's going to be able to get through the Nana Orb, snipe out a unit here before this immunity and invincibility comes off from Pontos.
Ooh, there's TRUEWHALE trying to pummel the damage on top of the Nana. Nana still looking healthy here. We got Oliver looking to probably reset attack bar reduction onto the Masha, not receiving anything though.
Wow, really unlucky for TRUEWHALE. Misses both the Nana defense break and the reset on the Oliver. So super unlucky to start this match, even though he had a much better draft here. So we'll see how Thompson responds. But again, Thompson's not going to be able to get much done here. Is probably going to have to use Shizuka skill 3 to get invincibility on his side of the field.
There's Holy Ground coming out for TRUEWHALE. He's able to protect his units from the Gurkha. Gurkha not able to do anything here. Honestly, none of TRUEWHALE's units are going to be able to... Thompson's units are going to be able to do anything with this invincibility up.
Yeah, exactly here. And so TRUEWHALE's going to lose invincibility first, which might put him at disadvantage. This Narsha can proc a couple times, though. He might be able to get in and strip a unit off. But I'm not exactly sure I like the position that TRUEWHALE's in anymore, given the fact that he missed so many times.
Yeah, both these players, just a ton of skill ones. Not one of them wanting to use any of their skills up, obviously, except this big little hit there on top of the Gurkha.
Yeah, and really unlucky proc by that Gurkha, exposing himself, so that Gurkha is going to be able to be taking a lot of damage. The Protect Soul goes up on the Shizuka. I'm not sure about that, but I think it's also okay here. But there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from this Narsha onto this Gurkha here. TRUEWHALE is going to be looking to try to get through some Nana Orbs.
Let's see if he's able to do it here. Once again, Thompson just pummeling away at all this invincibility. Narsha with some opportunity here to do a little bit of damage to Gurkha. Now skills are available. We might see some big numbers coming in of TRUEWHALE.
But TRUEWHALE's so unlucky, not landing a single thing with that Narsha here. So really unlucky for TRUEWHALE here. This Narsha has not been able to strip, not been able to land defense breaks, but still controlling the Gurkha. That's exactly what he's going to need to do to be able to survive this match here. TRUEWHALE just needs to find a way to get through a Nana Orb.
Yeah, super unlucky with that Narsha, but Oliver doing his job right now. Any despair stunts coming out from the Nana? No despair stunts here. Defense break landed on top of the Narsha. That might be able to might be a window for Thompson to do something.
Might be a window here, but we do see a Narsha and a Dominic taking turns very soon here, so Thompson might be losing an orb. I think TRUEWHALE's looking for this window of opportunity to be able to pull ahead in this match.
Comes a big skill 2 is going to be coming out here, putting all these units on silence, except that Masha, of course. Here comes the silence, and it only lands on Nana and Shizuka.
Yeah, and TRUEWHALE here needs to do something with this Narsha. Does not take out the Nana. This Narsha does get dismounted, but this Oliver is gonna be able to use skill 3, reset a unit, and recycle and use skill 2.
That's right, and he's going to be using it on the Nana. Nana's going to be dropping here. No more orbs, no more survival for Thompson here. He does have that skill 2 on top of his Shizuka to keep his team alive, though.
Yeah, and TRUEWHALE here does get that skill 2 onto that Gurkha, so is able to reset attack bars a little bit. Allows his Dominic to go in front, so Dominic's going to take out this Gurkha here, and TRUEWHALE's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE's in a very good spot there, putting Thompson down 2 units right now. And of course, Dominic's going to be taking that additional turn. You can see that he's going to be going after the Masha next, looking for a dismount.
Yeah, definitely looking for a dismount here. There is a reset. This Oliver is going to control the Shizuka here. This Masha's going to need to proc a lot of times if it wants to do anything. But again, TRUEWHALE's probably going to be able to survive with Pontos, with the Dominic. He's in a good spot.
There's that third skill coming out there, protecting his Masha with the invincibility, of course. Dominic's not able to get through here. None of these units are going to be able to get through because there's no strip on the side of TRUEWHALE.
Yeah, TRUEWHALE might be losing this Oliver here. Definitely going to be losing this Oliver here. That's a lot of damage coming out. That's also big proc, but does expose the Masha, which might be a little unlucky for Thompson here.
Definitely exposes her indeed. Let's see if he goes for a second skill to try to bring the cooldowns back onto the Masha. Or does he choose to bring it on himself to lower the cooldowns of that third skill?
TRUEWHALE's going to be dismounting the Masha, and if that Dominic gets a proc, that would be the end of this, but does not get a proc here, so he's going to be eating a shot back. This Masha does a lot of damage. Does not proc there, so TRUEWHALE's going to be able to use his Dominic to take out Masha on the next turn.
Yep, holy ground, protecting TRUEWHALE's units here. That might be what wins it right there. Oh, no strip from the Shizuka of the invincibility.
No strip from the Shizuka, but probably doesn't matter much. TRUEWHALE should go to dismount this Masha here. Does go for the dismount on the Masha, so very good use of skill there. TRUEWHALE just needs to make sure that the Shizuka does not proc very much. Should silence it here so that Dominic's able to take it out later on.
A very nice silence right there. Shizuka can't do anything to TRUEWHALE's units here. Dominic, definitely the unit to take Thompson down here in this round 3. Here comes the damage and no additional turn here.
And that's a big proc on that Pontos. Allows that Dominic to survive. Shizuka needs a proc if Thompson wants to hang in here, but he's basically relying on 20% and does get a proc.
Does get that proc. I'm not too sure that's what he needs to get through, but he's able to, never mind, not stun up a Dominic.
Yeah, it doesn't stun up the Dominic, but does have the ability to revive a unit and then down that Dominic here. So that's a very big proc coming out from Thompson's side here. Very lucky to get that. This Shizuka is hanging on with like 2,000 HP here. Thompson might be able to squeak on by, but it's going to be tight.
He's got skills available on the Masha. Look for the defense break kill on Dominic. Gets that kill. Can Shizuka hold on?
Wow, super lucky from Thompson to have that proc on the Shizuka earlier here. TRUEWHALE needs to do some damage with this Pontos. We'll see if it does more damage over time. Does need to use its skill 2s and skill 1s very wisely and preserve his cooldowns here because this is not game over.
Definitely not game over at all. I mean, Shizuka can live through this, especially if Thompson's able to get a proc here. And he does! He does get the proc there. He can revive back anything or potentially put the skill 2 on himself to keep himself alive here. Brings back the Masha for Masha to deal a little bit more damage here. He does have the holy ground to keep himself alive here. We've got some crazy back and forth.
Wow, so many procs coming out from the Shizuka here, putting TRUEWHALE in a rough spot. TRUEWHALE, next time Thompson revives a unit, Masha's going to have skill 2 up, so that's going to be a lot of damage coming out to TRUEWHALE.
And there's that skill 2 fastlick comes out. Thompson taking round 3 over TRUEWHALE.
Wow, and in that match there, I mean, that was pretty much over at the point where we saw Dominic and that Pontos. But that Pontos only did about 1.2k HP per hit there. Not enough damage in that situation. And Thompson able to tell Shizuka to proc and proc on command there. Able to get those procs on. If he didn't proc with Shizuka 2 times on those specific spots, he would have been in trouble. He really needed that basically 4 or 5% outer to take that match.
What an incredible back and forth match. It really was outstanding from both of them. There was so many holy grounds that came out there to protect TRUEWHALE's team, but then the Shizuka on Thompson's side, Shizuka was just doing everything she could to keep that match alive, and it really came through Thompson. A lot of additional turns on that Shizuka, though, is what really kept him alive.
I mean, that one was just a show. I know we harp on RNG a lot, but TRUEWHALE just had such a dominating draft. Thompson didn't have a stripper there. TRUEWHALE missed everything from that Narsha. So, I mean, not just violent procs, but we're talking 15%ers coming out from the side of TRUEWHALE over and over again. So, as a fellow player, I feel bad for TRUEWHALE missing so many strips, so many defense breaks. But that's Summoner's War. Everyone, that's the game we play here. RNG is a factor. Your goal is just to present the draft that gives you the highest chance to win there. So we'll see if TRUEWHALE's able to gather some mental fortitude and come back and win these 2 games and send us, at least first, send us to Game 5.
Well, Tianlang and Gurkha gonna be banned again. Oliver, the first pick for TRUEWHALE. Thompson looking to respond.
Thompson likely should be dipping into a Masha. He's probably going to go Masha Shizuka, even though I think Shizuka's a little weak here. But who knows? He might even go like with more aggressive Gianna play, but instead goes for 2 water units that are pretty weak into Oliver. I'm not sure about that. If I'm TRUEWHALE, I'm going Changpeng Narsha. I'm going straight aggression because both units that Thompson's presenting is weak to AoE play.
Yeah, honestly, this is outstanding. This is like one of those big rivalries, SSA versus Malicious. Previous SSA member TRUEWHALE up against Thompson here. What a crazy rivalry we're having right now.
Crazy rivalry here. And we do see that Praha that TRUEWHALE's going with, not going with the Changpeng, probably because Praha gives him a little bit more versatility later on in the match. So I think both picks are fine given the fact that TRUEWHALE has a lot of damage he's already presented in the game.
Yeah, most definitely. Thompson looking at drafting those 2 LDs once again, Ragdoll and Gianna coming out for Thompson. TRUEWHALE looking to respond to wrap up his draft here to try to secure a victory over Thompson to take it into a Game 5.
And we see, of course, when things are a little challenging, you just rely on your LD units. So the Ragdoll Gianna picks, very interesting picks here. Gianna on Violence, a little weaker in this situation. If it was on Swift, it would allow him to take that first turn here. TRUEWHALE responding with the Wusa and the Sekhmet probably means that he's going to be letting this Gianna through, because either way he's going to have a Wusa or a Sekhmet. Or it probably means he's actually going to be banning out this Gianna, actually, because if the Sekhmet is banned, Gianna's going to be able to roam free. So TRUEWHALE likely would be banning the Gianna here, but again, we see that Leo coming out here. And so that Leo is going to be stifling a lot of damage from this Narsha.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, Thompson's trying to put TRUEWHALE in an awkward place there with that ban, with that last pick being the Leo. Ragdoll's going to get the boot, and we've got Oliver getting banned out.
We have Oliver getting banned out, which makes some sense here. And again, we didn't expect the Leo ban out. The Ragdoll ban out makes sense. It's exactly what we saw in the match where we saw Leo come out beforehand. So Thompson's going to be able to have a Gianna Shizuka here. But TRUEWHALE, again, as we saw before, Praha brings a lot of heals, a lot of cycling, a lot of damage, and we have that Narsha, we have that Wusa for resilience. So I favor TRUEWHALE's draft here. Better long-term longevity into Thompson's team.
Let's see what happens, guys. We're in round 4 right here. TRUEWHALE looking to stay in. Thompson looking for a victory. Leo kicking us off.
Leo kicking us off, but does not land the pushback on the Sekhmet. So Sekhmet's likely going to be able to get a reset onto that Gianna there. Let's see if it lands here. That would be big. Does land. Lucky for TRUEWHALE, seeing his luck today. Lucky to get that reset on there, and it's going to be in a good spot. Thompson does not have a strip on his side of the field.
Yep, shield and immunity on the side of TRUEWHALE, looking extra safe right now. We got some big damage coming out from this Narsha. Let's see if he chooses to go on to the Gianna, and he does. Additional turns going to be popping out here. He's looking at capitalizing off that defense break that he just got, not dealing as much damage as he did the first hit.
And TRUEWHALE showing us that experience, not using skill 2, saving it for when he needs to strip this. So very good restraint from TRUEWHALE, looking for a better window to deploy that skill 2 from the Narsha to be able to burst down Thompson's units.
A little bit of first skill damage going out onto the Narsha. Narsha taking it very, very well. We do have a third skill available on the side of Thompson. He could be throwing up shields and immunity himself.
Yeah, he could be throwing that up, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He's in a lot of trouble right now. But there's also a lot coming out from the side of TRUEWHALE. There's strips coming out, but Thompson does have skill 2 into skill 3. That Gianna proc a couple of times, so is going to be able to stun up TRUEWHALE's side. Really lucky from Thompson to get that proc from Gianna here. And TRUEWHALE's going to be on the back foot.
Yep, here comes all that damage coming from Leo onto the Narsha. Thompson looking for a quick dismount. We're going to see a big second skill going into Gianna. Gianna looking extra low. Keep in mind that there is still a Nana on the field.
Yeah, and when this Shizuka does get a turn again, that Shizuka is going to have bombs on its skill 3, so very huge. Big difference from a previous match before. This Shizuka is going to have bombs on skill 3, so TRUEWHALE's going to need to be able to take a unit out pretty quickly, or time it so that his Wusa shield is up when Shizuka has its skill 3 up.
There's that one orb getting removed from the field. We've got TRUEWHALE trying to take out that Gianna. Gianna's still alive right now. No Despair Stun going out on top of the Narsha. We're really trying to dismount that unit. Thompson finally gets the dismount on the Narsha, but that skill is available. You can take out the Gianna, and that will remove that unit from the...
Does not get that Narsha out. So pretty, does not get that Gianna down. So pretty big lack of damage there. TRUEWHALE's looking like he needs to survive here, needs to take out this Gianna.
Definitely needs to take out that Gianna indeed. He's got that third skill available to put Thompson's team to sleep there. Doesn't get the Shizuka though.
Doesn't get the Shizuka, but should use his reset on the Shizuka and then use an auto attack onto the Gianna. Does use his skills very wisely here. Needs to protect that Narsha and not give Thompson an orb.
There's the kill, finally on the Gianna. TRUEWHALE taking a unit down there. Narsha looking to pummel that damage, potentially on the defense broken Leo though.
I think he does go for it. Does so much damage, even through that slow passive of Leo.
There's the damage we were looking for. Leo gets removed from the Narsha, and we've got Sekhmet looking for some damage and attack break there on the Nana.
So much damage coming from the side of TRUEWHALE with that Narsha. So much resilience here. Thompson needs to take out that Narsha to get an orb, but even if he does so, I'm not sure if he has a chance to win here. Thompson also does have a strip coming from Shizuka by the way of Gianna here, but again, TRUEWHALE just has a lot of damage over time.
Yep, he's got a full team of everything here available to him, but we've got Gianna getting revived back for full team stuns to help Thompson try to get something going here. I'm not too sure he's going to get much. Nice Despair Stuns on top of the Wusa though.
But Shizuka not procking there. Shizuka, if it gets one more proc, it's going to be able to lay on a bunch of bombs here. So TRUEWHALE does need to lay on some damage, does need to take out that Nana. That Narsha hanging on is absolutely massive.
It really is, because he's able to heal his team. Narsha's back to looking healthy once again. Thompson trying to do all he can to remove that Narsha from the field. Lots of bombs are available, a whole lot of everything coming to the field with that third skill of Shizuka.
And this Shizuka has 50 violence sets on it, pretty much procking every turn there. Absolutely massive proc there. It's going to be able to take up this Leo. Does revive the Leo, because he wants to do enough damage to guarantee an orb on his side of the field.
Huge damage coming out of Leo, removing that Praha from the field.
Removes that Praha, and then Narsha goes down, does not get an orb onto Nana, but again, TRUEWHALE does not have a lot of damage anymore. I think Thompson's got this in the bag. TRUEWHALE needs a win condition, and he doesn't have it right now. He's going to need to have that Wusa lay in a lot of damage into this Nana, but again, Nana with that orb up, is going to be impossible for TRUEWHALE to take out.
It really is. Wusa grasping for a two-turn sleep on top of the Shizuka. No dice coming through there. Goes for a second skill. No defense breaks, but glancing is going to be applied. I don't know if that's going to be enough for TRUEWHALE here. This Shizuka performing phenomenally for Thompson.
I think TRUEWHALE's going to need to start by taking out this Nana here. He's going to need to use a Sekhmet to keep that Shizuka locked down here. So that skill 3 is going to be dedicated to that Shizuka. And we're going to need Thompson's Shizuka not to proc a single time, otherwise we're going to be seeing a 3-1 here.
Yeah, Sekhmet looking for the reset, does nail that Shizuka with the reset. Shizuka with no skills available. All these first skills are going to go right into the Nana. Once that Nana's gone, it's going to be a lonely Shizuka that is reset.
Definitely going to be a lonely Shizuka at this point here, and if that Sekhmet keeps on landing, then Thompson's not going to have a window to win here. TRUEWHALE does have resilience from this Wusa Sekhmet, so TRUEWHALE looking like he's in a good spot now, has stabilized. Once he takes out this Nana, he's going to be able to take this one home.
There's a very nice initial turn coming out of TRUEWHALE, trying to keep himself into this match. He can use second skill, but he may save it here.
Definitely wise move to save it. That just shows the experience of TRUEWHALE having played in a lot of tournaments here. And this Shizuka is gonna need to get some turns somehow. TRUEWHALE just needs to keep the Shizuka locked down, and he's gonna win.
Here comes that big second skill here. He might go for the third skill so he doesn't have to avoid anything. There's the second skill. Here comes the reset. Does the reset land on top of the Shizuka? And that's the nail in the coffin right there for Thompson. TRUEWHALE with a great victory here over Thompson. We're going into a round 5.
Wow, what a match there. We're going into a round 5 of what could have easily been the America Cup's finals. And we're seeing this in the loser bracket of a prelims. And it's kind of sad to say that one of these players won't be making it through to America's Cup in New York. And one of them will, one of them won't. And it's kind of sad because it would have been great to see both of them in America's Cup. It's just such a back and forth match.
It would have been. It's so sad that this is a loser bracket match because this is some of the most entertaining RTA we've seen in a very, very long time. A lot of RNG, of course, going back and forth, but both these players just taking it down to the absolute wire here. Shizuka's been such an incredible pick here. I'm curious if TRUEWHALE is going to do something about that unit. It's been way too good in the hands of Thompson.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, as a high level player, you're going to let probability play out. If I was TRUEWHALE, I like my draft so far. I mean, typically when he's lost, it required multiple procs, multiple resists here. So I think TRUEWHALE should just stay the course. Relying on Shizuka procs is not a good long-term winning strategy. And if I'm Thompson, I really would prefer. I haven't seen a single Light Monkey. I haven't seen a single Nephthys come out. If TRUEWHALE is going to rely on passive units, which he hasn't, but if he does go passive units, that's the way you win. So if I was Thompson, I would be thinking to go more aggressive. Bring a Gianna, bring the Light Monkey, bring the Nephthys here. TRUEWHALE just needs to play the way he has, which is mixing aggression, the Narsha, the Oliver, taking first turn, and dictating the pace of the match.
Yep, most definitely. Those are the units available, guys. Tianlang and Gurkha can make an appearance as we get into this next match here. This final match here, Volantis, Gianna are the pre-bans in this Game 5.
As we expected here, we're going to see two LD pre-bans. Thompson likely going to take a Shizuka first pick as he has previously, but I like the Oliver. The aggression coming out from him shows that he can play turn 1. TRUEWHALE instantly laying down the Tianlang. I'm not sure about Tianlang here. I really think he should have gone Masha Tianlang is a little bit better. Masha Changpeng is okay, but I'm not sure about the Shizuka so early on. It's a little weak in Oliver. Tianlang doesn't exactly counter Oliver a ton.
Yep, not at all. I mean, I don't know what we could be seeing coming out of Thompson because this looks like it's going to be a change of pace with that Oliver being Thompson's first pick. TRUEWHALE, I can agree more with you. Seeing a Tianlang this early from TRUEWHALE is not something that I personally wanted to see, but an interesting draft, aggressive draft coming out of Thompson.
Partially aggressive. I like the Dominic pick. I'm not sure about the Nana. The two strategies, one really counter. When you're facing an opponent that's wasn't bringing a lot of burst, I think pushing the aggression is going to make it a little bit more tough for your opponent, but not the end of the world here. Thompson does go with an Okeanos, which we haven't seen in a while, but I like this pick here. Okeanos probably faster than most of the units on Thompson's side, and if this goes off, it's going to be a lot of damage and a lot of stuns. And the Narsha, always a great pick here. Lots of damage coming from that unit.
Most definitely. Okeanos always scares me when that second skill just feels so unreliable sometimes, and it just seems like a make or break draft when it doesn't land for Okeanos.
And Thompson's going to lay down the Gurkha, and as much as I've said that Tianlang counters Gurkha, I don't think Tianlang is going to be enough, you know, having fought a few of them recently with my Tianlang. I think Gurkha's going to need to be the ban of TRUEWHALE. Well, unless TRUEWHALE brings in something else to kill units off the bat here. Goes with an Asima. Interesting last pick here, but TRUEWHALE doesn't have a speed lead. So unless he can take first turn, I think Asima might not be able to kick this match off.
I know, this is such an interesting last draft. This really could go either way. I'm so curious what's going to happen. What is the outcome between Thompson and TRUEWHALE in Game 5?
I think we're going to see a speed lead removal coming from the side of TRUEWHALE. So TRUEWHALE, well, it takes out the Wusa, which is interesting here. That Okeanos has to be on Swift if he's going to do that this way here. But at the same time, the Asima ban is a little interesting too. Thompson's going to have to face a Tianlang into his Gurkha, which is actually favors Thompson a little bit. I actually like Thompson's draft a little bit. He does have the Nana to fall back on. TRUEWHALE's going to need to get a couple of procs, timely procs, if he wants to be able to hang in there and then take units off the field later.
Well, let's see if it's going to be enough. We have our last match, Thompson, TRUEWHALE, Game 5.
Thompson's going to kick this off with a really well-ruined Nana, but that Nana doesn't do anything because it goes first into units, a team full of will here. So this Gurkha also misses the strip, so that's absolutely massive. This Oliver's not going to do a single thing. You can see Thompson's really trying to do away with the Okeanos. He does not want to see this unit here. Rain of Stones is available for TRUEWHALE. Goes for AoE stuns here. Does get everybody except the Nana. Narsha with skills available. And this is where that huge proc on that Narsha here, this violent Tianlang is going to do a lot of damage over time here. This is where I really like that build on Tianlang to be violent in these types of situations. Saves that skill 2, knows that he doesn't need it now here. TRUEWHALE's probably going to lay in skill 3 here and just push his aggression, push the damage, and take this win right here.
Definitely. There's the defense breaks. There's the stuns all laid out onto the field. Skill 2 available on top of the Okeanos. He can place this wherever he wants, or he can help get rid of this Dominic from the field now that there's no more orbs sitting on top of that Nana. Reset does not land on top of the Gurkha. Big damage coming out of the Narsho, though. He can easily remove units from the field with defense break on him.
Yeah, and TRUEWHALE's not looking for a reset on the Gurkha there. He's looking to do damage here. He knows his Tianling does a lot of damage. Takes out that unit, needs to remove that Gurkha now. Is working on that unit, refreshes some skills, but does not have it available, but is basically going to be able to take out that Gurkha and seal this match.
There it is, guys. We've seen it. There is no stacks on the Nana. There's no way that Thompson will be able to keep this team alive here. The damage is not there. TRUEWHALE taking round 5 from Thompson.